Hi, this is Shay Jackson with Hype Math. In today's Algebra 1 Math Test Prep lesson, we will be reviewing the End of Course STAAR Test 2013, questions number 1 to number 5. Let's get started. Our first problem says, a dentist made the scatter plot below to show the number of cavities her patients had as it relates to the number of times they flossed their teeth each week. Which of the following best describes the correlation for the data? A, positive correlation, B, nonlinear correlation, C, negative correlation, D, no correlation. So let's look at our scatter plot. For the y-axis, it's the number of cavities from 0 to 7. And also for our x-axis, it's the number of times the patient flossed each week, and that's from 0 to 8. What are we looking for? We are looking for the answer that best describes the correlation of the data. Basically, looking at our scatter plot, does A, B, C, or D describe the correlation of the data? Well, what information do we need to find the answer? To find the answer, we must first understand what all of the answer choices mean. So positive correlation means data values increase at the same time. This means that as the x value increases, so will the y value increase. Negative correlation means as one data value decreases, the other value increases. So as the x values decrease, the y values will increase, or vice versa. If the x values are increasing, that means the y values will decrease. Nonlinear correlation. The ratio of change between x and y is not constant. Okay? And lastly, no correlation. There is no apparent relationship between x and y. Now that we understand and have defined what each answer choice means, looking at our scatter plot and the answer choices we have, are there any answer choices we can cross out? Okay, so looking at the number of cavities as it relates to the number of times the patient flossed each week, are there any answer choices that we can cross out? If you said that we could cross out A, B, and D, you are correct. And let's look at why. So for positive correlation, it says that as the x value increases, the y value increases as well. And in our scatter plot, that's not true. We see that as the number of cavities, as it decreased, the number of times the patient flossed each week, well, that increased, okay? For nonlinear, well, we know that's not correct, and also no correlation. But yes, there is a correlation between the x and the y. So our correct answer is C, negative correlation. So as the number of times the patient flossed each week, the number of cavities they had decreased. Let's move on to problem number 2. What is the vertex of the graph of the quadratic function f of x is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 10? F, 3, comma, negative 1. G, negative 3, comma, negative 1. H, negative 3, comma, 1. Or J, 3, comma, 1. What are we looking for? We are looking for the vertex of the graph of the quadratic equation f of x is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 10. What information do we need to find the answer? Well, first we must understand how we can find the vertex of the quadratic function, okay? To find the vertex, h of k, it's h and also k. So to find the h, it's h is equal to negative b over 2a, and k is f of h. So basically, once we find our h, the value of our h, we substitute that value in and we can find our k. Okay, so looking at our quadratic function, we put what a is, that's 1. For b, it's 6. And for c, it's 10. Okay, so again, our a is equal to 1, our b is equal to 6, and our c is equal to 10. Based on our h, we have to have negative b over 2a. We substitute in the value of b, which we know is 6, and also, so that's negative 6 for our numerator, and for our denominator, we substitute in the value of a, which is 1, so it's negative 6 over 2 minus 1, and that's equal to negative 3. Okay, so we have found our h. Looking at our answer choices, are there any that we can cross out? Okay, so we know that our h is negative 3, and looking at our answer choices, F, G, H, and J, do any of them have an answer choice other than negative 3 as their h? If you said yes, you are correct. We can cross out F and J. Why? Because the 3 is positive and our h, based on our problem, is negative 3. Okay, now that we know what our h is, we can substitute in our value to find our k. So what we do is f of negative 3. So everywhere there is an x, we are going to substitute in negative 3. So f of negative 3 is equal to negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 10. Okay? Can you find the right answer or the correct answer based on that information? Let's see. Negative 3 squared means negative 3 times negative 3. Okay, that's 9. Plus 6 times negative 3 is negative 18 plus 10. So what is our answer? If you said H, you are correct. Okay, so negative 3 squared, like we said before, is 9, plus 6 times negative 3, which is negative 18, plus 10. Our next line, we combine like terms, so we have two positives, 9, we have a positive 9 and a positive 10, which is positive 19 plus negative 18, which is equal to a positive 1. So our correct answer is H, negative 3, 1. That is the vertex of this quadratic function. Let's move on to number 3. Which of the following graphs best represents a system of equations that has no solution? Okay, so let's look at our graph for A, for B, for C, and also for D. What are we looking for? We are looking for the graph that represents a system of equations that has no solution. What information do we need to help find the answer? Well, we need to understand what a system of equations with no solution means, or what it looks like. It means a system that has a graph that has two lines that have the same slope but are not the same lines. The two lines are parallel and they never intersect. Okay, so number one, we know the two lines have the same slope, but they're not the same line, which means they're not right on top of each other. It looks like two lines as opposed to one line. Okay, and also the two lines are parallel, they never intersect. Now that we understand our definition of system of equations with no solutions and looking at our graphs, are there any answer choices we can cross out because we know they're wrong based on that definition? Yes, we can. We can cross out A, we can cross out B, and also we can cross out C. So for A, we can cross out, they look like parallel lines, but the way that they're tilted, it does not look like it's the same slope, and eventually they will cross. For B, those lines are already crossed, so we know that that's incorrect. And for C, the same thing. Even though the lines aren't intersecting yet, if they continue on, they will, and it does not look like they have the same slope. So we again can cross out A, B, and C. Those answers are incorrect. So our correct answer is D. For D, both lines have the same slope, and they're not the same line, so you can distinctly see two lines, and also they're parallel, and the lines do not look like they can continue on forever, and they will not intersect. Okay? Correct answer is D. Let's move to problem number 4. A family will travel 350 miles from their house in order to reach Dallas, Texas. Which inequality can be used to find all possible values of t, the time it will take the family to reach Dallas in hours, if they travel at an average speed of at least r miles per hour? What are we looking for? We are looking for the inequality that can be used to find all possible values of t, which is the time it will take for the family to reach Dallas in hours, if they travel at an average speed of at least r miles per hour. All right, so let's look at what information can help us find the answer. Number 1, we need to know that the family will travel 350 miles from their house. We also know that our variable t equals time, and our variable r is equal to miles per hour, and that the family travels at an average speed of at least r miles per hour. Using this information, are there any answer choices we can cross out? Okay, so one thing that we need to think about, we know the 350 miles, okay? It takes them 350 miles to travel to Dallas. We understand the variables, but that last sentence is key. They travel at an average speed of at least r miles per hour, okay? So that means we know the 350 and miles per hour, and average speed should kind of give you a hint of what we need to do in order to solve this problem. Okay? Let's take a moment and then we'll see, are there any answer choices? If you guess any answer choices correctly, that can be crossed out. If you said F, G, and J, you are correct. They can be crossed out. Okay, so let's look at F. We have T is less than or greater than 350 times R. Well, this is incorrect because for average speed of at least r miles per hour, we need to divide. So any answer choice that does not have division, they are wrong. Okay, so that's why F and also T can be crossed out, because we need to divide. Now, the reason that we can cross out G, because again, that last sentence, they travel at an average speed of at least r miles per hour. That means that the inequality sign is facing the wrong direction for G. So that's wrong. And also, it's 300 miles per hour means the miles should be the numerator and the time should be the denominator. Okay, the 350 should be on the top, the numerator, and the time, R, should be the denominator. That's why we were able to mark out G. And our correct answer is H. T is less than or equal to 350 divided by R. Let's go to question number 5. Hopefully you're hanging in there with me. The graph below shows the relationship between the number of dollars a worker earns and the number of hours worked. Okay? Again, the graph below shows the relationship between the number of dollars a worker earns and the number of hours worked. What does the slope of the graph represent? A, the number of hours of work it takes to earn $320. B, the amount of money earned per hour. C, the amount earned for 40 hours of work. D, the number of hours worked per dollar earned. All right, let's take a look at our graph. So for our y-axis, we see that that's the amount earned, and it's from $60 to $320. And for our x-axis, it's the time worked, H, and it's from 0 to 40. And we see that our slope is increasing, going up. All right? What are we looking for? We are looking for the slope that the graph represents. What information can help us find the answer? The graph that shows the relationship between the number of dollars a worker earns and the number of hours worked. That's the information that can help us find the answer, okay? So now that we have that information, let's take a look to see if there are any answer choices we can cross out. So again, the information that we can use to solve this problem or to find if there are any wrong answers is the graph that shows the relationship between the number of dollars a worker earns and the number of hours worked. So looking at A, B, C, and D, are there any answer choices you can think of that can be crossed out? If you said A, C, and D, you are correct. So let's look at A, the number of hours of work it takes to earn $320. Well, that's not the only thing that it shows that. However, that's not the only thing that this slope represents. Okay, that's not the only thing that this slope represents, and so that is why that answer is incorrect. For C, it says the amount earned for 40 hours of work, and that kind of goes along with A, because looking at our graph, we know that if we work 40 hours, we'll make $320. So again, that's not all the slope is representing for this graph. That answer can be crossed out as well. And for D, the number of hours worked per dollar earned, that's incorrect as well. Okay? So that since we've crossed out those wrong answers, our correct answer is B. The slope represents the amount of money earned per hour. Our correct answer is B. This has been Shay Jackson with Hype Math. If you would like to see if you would like to see more, I got tongue-tied. If you would like to see more Algebra 1 math test prep videos, go to our website, www.hypemath.com, where we help young people excel in math. Talk to you soon.